Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. So, about a year ago, today, well, not today, but about a year ago around this time, I made a video on my channel talking about the most improved player for every team. I think it's a fun thing to do, looking at every team and saying who the most improved player is, because I think most improved player is one of the more fun awards and go out because it's always something we can't really predict about who's going to take the next step, all stuff like that. And usually, of course, there's only one award. So today I'm going to be doing it again for this year, my most improved player, or the player that's improved the most on every single team. If I can give the award to one player on every single team, who would it be here in today's video? So that's what we're going to do. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. Links to my Twitter, description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So these are my personal, who I think is the most important player in each team. If you have someone different from your team or whatever, or have your thoughts, leave them down below in the comments. I would like to see what you think, who you think improved the most throughout the year. So we're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks. For the Atlanta Hawks, I think it's a pretty obvious one, someone that's actually in the real most improved player of the year award conversation, and that is Jalen Johnson. Johnson went from being kind of like the back end of the rotation last year, being kind of the 9th or 10th man, to now he's honestly probably the second or third best player on the team. He went from last season averaging 5 points, 4 rebounds, and assists on 49, 28, 62 splits to a big jump. His points went up by double digits. His rebounds have doubled. His assists have doubled. Steals, blocks, everything. He's having a career year everywhere. He's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and almost a block per game while shooting 52% from the field, 34% from 3, 72% from the free throw line, and he's a starter on the team now. He's been great. He's been kind of something the Hawks have really needed, a young guy that they can develop for the future. And now, honestly, he's probably the only thing safe on the Atlanta Hawks because the Hawks have had a disappointing year and seems like big changes could be coming to the Hawks. And Jalen Johnson is really the only thing they have right now that's concrete in there. He's still only 22 years old, and he's been big. Doing a lot of little things. Of course, offensively, he can do so many things. He's kind of like a point forward, can handle the ball really well, make good passes in transition. He can bring the ball up the court and run in transition. Athletically, he's there. His jumper is massively improved. Now he's a pretty decent three-point shooter. The mid-range he can get there, be nice. Even in the half court, the game is unlocked a little bit more. Being confident, being able to take it to the rim. Find others defensively. He's very good, versatile as well. He's become, again, I think he's probably second most important player on the Atlanta Hawks. He's been so key when he's out there and playing. The Hawks are just a better team, and it's very interesting to see. I thought he was going to be able to take a jump this year, but I didn't think he was going to be able to take this jump where he's like really the only thing safe on the Atlanta Hawks. Has been very fun to see, and he's honestly the only reason to watch the Atlanta Hawks right now. The Boston Celtics. Some of these teams like this that are like veteran, more championship contender teams, it's gonna be very hard because most of these players they have are like concrete. We know where we're getting from them. But for the Celtics, my pick is Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard was a first-round pick a couple years ago. Showed off as a rookie, but the last 2 years he's kind of slowly lost his spot in the rotation. Last year, he had his worst season. Played the least amount of games played in just 48 games last year, averaging 5, 1-1 on not amazing shooting. But then he got a contract extension this offseason, and this year he's become a key part of the rotation and become their backup point guard in a way for the Celtics. He has played in every game this season. Only Celtics play in every game this year, 62 games. He's had a career high in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage. He's been great. He went from averaging 5, 1-1 last year. He's averaging almost 8 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting 44% from the field, 38% from 3, 81% from the free throw line. He's been trusted a lot more as the backup point guard. And yeah, he's kind of back establishing himself as a player. Because I really liked him when he first came into the league. 4-year guy to Oregon, really solid point guard. Love how he started. And then the last couple years, he's kind of lost more minutes, and his role became less and less and less as time has gone on. But now, with kind of an opening at the backup position, especially with guys like Marcus Smart being gone and stuff, he has established himself as the backup point guard, and it's been really nice to see him be able to do that. For the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going with Cam Thomas. Of course, he's been injured right now. He's been in and out of the lineup, unfortunately. I don't even know if he's going to come back this year. Who knows? And the Nets have been very disappointing. But Cam Thomas' ascension, especially early on in the year, was amazing to watch. Went from last year, he averaged 10 points, a rebound, and assist, shot 44, 38, 86. Had some really good moments, had that 40-point stretch throughout the middle of the year, but he was kind of in and out of the lineup and rotation. This year, he's kind of been the only offense for the Brooklyn Nets, and his numbers have gone dramatically up. He's averaging career high in points, rebounds, and assists. His scoring doubled. Went from averaging 10, 1, and 1 last year. He's averaging almost 21 points per game, which leads the team. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He's shooting 43% from the field, 36% from 3, 84% from the free throw line. Of course, he's kind of cooled off as the year has gone on, but he's kind of just, he's been the only offense. The Nets have a very bad offense, and so most of the offense is give it to Cam and let him do something. And most of the time he's been doing it. He's had, I think, 9 30-point games. He's shown that he can get buckets. He's shown his role. He's a bucket getter. What is the extent of his role and what can he actually be at the ceiling? I don't really know. Still a lot of questions to figure out, but his improvement has been amazing. I mean, just look at his numbers. I mean, it's hard not to say he's been one of the most improved players of the year this year, especially for Brooklyn. For the Charlotte Hornets, we are going to go with Trey Mann. Now, I know he's only played 11 games for the Hornets, just got there, but there wasn't really anyone else from the Hornets that really caught my eye or really thought about doing this besides Trey Mann. He got over there in the Gordon Hayward trade. He was in OKC, kind of just sitting on the bench. He only played in 13 games in OKC this season, and so now he gets to Charlotte. He's been a starting point guard, especially with LaMelo's injury. He's been great, even though statistically he hasn't been better than last year. His total with OKC, he averaged 7, 2, and 1 on not great efficiency. For the entirety of the year, in 24 games with OKC and Charlotte, he's averaging 7 points, actually a career low in points, but he's averaging career high in rebounds, assists, and shooting splits. Averaging career high. He's averaging 7, 3, and 3, 46, 41, 80% shooting for the free throw line. But specifically in Charlotte, he's averaging 11 points, which would be a career high. If this entire year, he'd be a career high in points, rebounds, assists, steals, everywhere. Averaging over 11.5 points, 5 rebounds, almost 5 assists, and 1.5 steals on 44, 40, 79 shooting splits in his 11 games in Charlotte. Looks a lot better, and I kind of knew this was going to happen. I mean, a lot of people knew. He's a guy that's really talented. He's a first-round pick. As a rookie, he was great as a rookie. We know he has game. It's just he never really got a chance to show it because he ended up, OKC ended up being really good and got stuck behind Shea, who's an MVP candidate. Josh Giddey, who's a really good point guard. Even Cason Wallace, as a rookie, has been really good and efficient. Isaiah Joe came out of nowhere. So, he kind of just got stuffed today on the bench. And it was like, we don't really have a spot for you. So, he goes to Charlotte, which I love that. He went to Charlotte, opportunity, a place where they just need players. They need talent. Trey Mann is definitely talented. So, he's going to Charlotte. And he's been really good. He's been having near triple-double games and shooting the ball efficiently. Really like to see. And I'm really interested to see what his future looks like in Charlotte. For the Bulls, another guy that's firmly in the actual MIP conversation. It's an obvious one, but it's Coby White. And I made a video about this the other day. If you missed that, you can go back and check that out. I really went in depth on Coby White and how he's been doing this season. But he's been amazing. After last year having the worst year of his career, he averages 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on 44, 37, 87 splits. Became mostly a 6-man, was playing the 2 guard. Just things didn't look right in Chicago. But then he got a contract extension this offseason, re-signed there. And so far this year, he has been absolutely amazing. Average career highs in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. Again, went from averaging 9, 3, and 3 last year to averaging now 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, while shooting 45% from the field, 39% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. His points have went up 10, rebounds went up by almost 2, assists went up by over 2 and almost 2.5. His percentages have gone up, even though he's taking career highs in shots. He's taking 7 more shots per game than he did last year, 3 more 3-pointers than he did last year, almost 3 more free throws than he did last year, but his percentages have gone up, and he's been a huge part. He's kind of similar to Jalen Johnson. He's been the reason to watch the Bulls. It's because Coby White has been absolutely amazing. He's been helping lead comebacks. He's been doing it all, really, this year. And now, hopefully, he can help Chicago kind of lean toward going with the younger movement, because Coby White's still only 24 years old. We don't know what his ceiling is going to be like, but he has been amazing and really the reason to watch the Bulls this year. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, you got Isaac Okoro. He's the guy that, of course, he was a top 5 pick a couple years ago. Good defender, but offensively, just things weren't really working out. And last year, he had the worst year of his career, averaging just 6 points, 2 rebounds, and assists, playing the least amount of minutes per game. And things were it was a big conversation. Is Isaac Okoro, what is he? Is he going to be in Cleveland for a long term? I was not going to be surprised if he would have been traded. Who knows? But this year, he has stepped up, and he's having a career season. He's stepped up and improved in a lot of ways, averaging career highs in points, assists, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. Went from averaging 6, 2, and 1 last year. This year he's averaging 9.7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists with almost a steal per game and half a block, while shooting 50% from the field, almost 40% from three, 68% for the free throw line is a career low. But he looks a lot more confident. He looks a lot just better, you know? Like, he's more confident shooting the ball. He's taking a career high 3 threes per game. Well, actually, second most since his rookie year, shooting at almost 40% clip. You know, he's been attacking the rim really well. Defensively, we know he can bring. That's what really his value is at the defensive end. He's one of the better, more underrated perimeter defenders. But offensively, he's taking a little bit of a jump. Looks a lot more confident in the shooting. How real is it? We don't know. We'll go see at playoff time. But it's just been nice to see Isaac Crow finally step into a role and finally be confident. I feel like in shooting the ball and just look a lot better and been a kind of a key part in how the Cavs have been so good, how they had this resurgence this past couple months is because Isaac Crow has been bringing a lot on both ends of the court. For the Dallas Mavericks, it's a little bit of a tougher one. We're going to go with Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones was a guy that wasn't really signed until later in the free agency pool. And this year, he's been surprisingly a lot like a big part of the Mavericks. He's been a starter. He's coming off the bench now, but he's started in almost every game in 48 of the 58 games he's played this year and having a big year. Last year in Chicago, he averaged 5 points, 2 rebounds. He shot 50% from the field, 33% from three, 73% from the free line. He's a decent little versatile wing, come off the bench type of player. But this year he's been a lot better. He's averaging career highs in points per game, 3-point percentage. He's been good. He went from averaging 5 and 2 last year to averaging 9 points per game, 3.5 rebounds and assists. He's shooting 48% from the field, 35% from three, which is a career high, which actually has gone down because early in the year he's shooting like dang near 40% from three and 71% for the free throw line as well. Yeah, he's been reliable for Dallas in terms of being able to space the floor solidly. Now, how much do I believe in the 3-pointer when it comes playoff time or whatever? I don't really know yet. But it's just nice to see Derrick Jones is finally, he's been a lot more confident shooting. He's taking a career high in threes, averaging almost over 3 attempts per game. He's been shooting the ball very well. We all know about his athleticism and what he can bring on the defensive end. So him being able to knock down the three ball is big because the Mavericks need defenders and kind of lengthy guys like him. So if he can be able to consistently knock down the three ball, that's a big thing for the Mavericks to have. Next, going to go to the Denver Nuggets, the reigning champs. Another tougher one. We're going to go with Peyton Watson, the second-year man out of UCLA. Last year, only played in 23 games. Didn't really play till like the end of the season when the Nuggets are kind of resting and stuff. And this year, coming in this year, he's going to have a bigger role, of course, with Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, some key parts of the Nuggets bench being gone. And he stepped in, and he's been a consistent thing off the bench for them. We're averaging 3 points and a rebound last year on 49, 43, 55 splits. This year, he's played in 61 games, starting in a handful of them. His points have went up. He's averaging almost 7 points per game, 3 rebounds, and assists, and a block per game, while shooting 46% from the field, 32% from three, 68% from the free throw line. He's been a good part of the Nuggets bench. His shot blocking has been one of his most impressive things. He's an amazing shot blocker at 6'8", with length that can defend really, really well. His offense still needs some work, but there's some potential there. There's potential that he can be a key piece to this Nuggets team going forward. He's still only 21 years old, and if he can already bring the defense that he has been doing, once the offense develops and the 3-point shot develops, a little more, he's gonna be really good off that Nuggets bench, or maybe even starting. Who knows what happens in the future? But it's nice to see Payne Watson, one of the young guys, step up and be kind of like a key part to the Nuggets bench. And again, he blocks shots really, really well, for being so young. The Detroit Pistons, a really tough one. I wanted to go Cade, but instead I went with a guy that's a little bit more under the radar, Simone Fontecchio. In his second year last year, he kind of came up with Utah and had some solid nights. This year, he played most of his games with Utah. He's so far played 11 games in Detroit. He's kind of been a starter for them, and now he's coming off the bench. But last year's rookie year in Utah, he averaged 6 points, a rebound, shot 37% from the field, 33% from three, 79% from the free throw line. This year, he's been a key part to the Jazz, and when they had that run in January, when they were on fire, he was a big part of that. Became a starter there. That's why Detroit wanted him. Averaging career highs everywhere. Points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. Everywhere he's averaging career highs. For the entirety of the year, he's averaging a little bit under 10 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists, while shooting 45% from the field, 39% from three, 79% from the free throw line. So far in 11 games for Detroit, he's averaging 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting 45% from the field, 40% from three, 70% from the free throw line. He's a 6'8" wing that can knock it down from three. That's really what he is. And now Detroit kind of wants him for the long term, even though he is 28 years old. So I don't know. Well, who knows what goes on in Detroit? But he's become a very solid sniper that you can't just leave open with Detroit, especially a team that really needs some spacing. So shout out to Simone Fontecchio. Golden State Warriors are next, and we're going with Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga, of course, was a top 10 pick a couple years ago. The first 2 years, he's shown some flashes, but didn't really get the full opportunity. And earlier this year, he was really getting the full opportunity. It literally took Jonathan Kuminga publicly saying, "I don't think Steve Kerr can like lead me to the promised land and lead me to where I would need to be for him to start getting his minutes." But once he has been, he's been amazing. Last year, his second year in Golden State, he averaged just under 10 points per game with 3 rebounds and assists, shooting 52, 37, 65 splits. This year, he's gone up to averaging over 15 and a half points per game with almost 5 rebounds and 2 assists while shooting 53% from the field, 30% from three, 73% from the free throw line, averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. Looking a lot more confident, and he's been a big part to why the Golden State Warriors have been playing really well recently, which I made a video about that the other day. If you missed that, you can go back and watch that one as well. He's been a key part. He's starting now. He's starting in over half the games that he's played for the Warriors. They're going with the smaller line, but Draymond at the center because Kuminga's energy and what he brings is so big. The Warriors don't have a lot of players that can attack the rim, and he's really athletic and loves to attack the rim. So it's been really, really key there. He looks a lot more confident. Defensively, he's been there as well. He's been a big piece, and the Warriors going young in general has been a big thing as to why the Warriors have kind of climbed back out from being kind of just really disappointing under 500 to now dang near being in the 8th seed. You know what I mean? Being like a game out of 8th and not that far out of being a top 16, potentially being above the play-in, which is crazy. Kuminga's been a big piece of that. And now him finally getting minutes and showing Steve Kerr, hey, I can actually play and be impactful has been huge for not only his success, but for the Warriors in general, their success as well. The Houston Rockets going with Alperen Sengun, their young star. He's kind of established himself as the building block of the future. Of course, the first 2 years he's had some flashes and shown that he can be really good, but this year he's taken a whole nother level, and the Rockets have taken a whole nother level himself. Last year he played in 75 games. He averaged 15, 9, and 4, 55, 33, 71 splits. This year he's taken a whole step, and he's shown he's the best player in the Rockets, and he's shown the Rockets that he's the future. He's the future of the Houston Rockets. Averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, like everywhere. He's averaging over 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, while shooting 53% from the field, 29% from three, 70% from the free throw line. He's been amazing. I mean, he's an amazing big man. Great feel for the game. His passing ability, of course, has been something really talked about a whole lot. Averaging 5 assists as a big man, makes a lot of great plays. His offensive game has taken a big step too, though. Like his touch has been really good. His mid-range shot has been really good. He can score from everywhere. 3 pointers still a little bit shaky, but he's willing to take them. Of course, when you get him in the post, he has such a big array of moves that he can go to. The hook shots, the back someone down to score, the little one-legged mid-range jumpers have been great. Defensively, he's even been solid too, averaging over a steal per game as a center. So yeah, he's shown he's the future of the Houston Rockets, and they're building around him. And can't wait to see. I mean, he was close to making an All-Star team this year. Maybe he makes it next year. Who knows? We'll see. But Alperen Sengun has been just such a fun player to watch. Indiana Pacers going with Aaron Nesmith. He's former lottery pick a couple years ago by the Boston Celtics, and in 2 years in Boston, he just couldn't really find his way. Also because the Celtics were competing for championships, so he was put on the back burner in terms of development and stuff. Got traded to Indiana last year and showed some things, but this year he's taken an even bigger step and been a big part of the Indiana Pacers. Last year he averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, and assists. He shot 42% from the field, 36% from three, 83% from the free throw line. And honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head, but he might have been my most improved player last year for Indiana in terms of like making this video, and now he's going to be it again for the second year in a row. But he's gotten even better. Averaging career highs in points, assists, steals, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, everywhere. Went from averaging 10, 3, and 1 last year to averaging 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and a steal per game, while shooting 50% from the field, 44% from 3, 71% from the free throw line. He came into the league as an elite shooter. He had an elite shooting season at Vanderbilt, which led him to here. And the 3-point shot's been solid, but it hasn't really been amazing. This year, shooting 44% from 3 in a high-powered Celtic offense. And defensively, he's been the best perimeter defender for the Indiana Pacers. He's been the go-to guy for the Pacers on the defensive end, which has been a big development for him. Even though he's not big, he's only 6'5", but he has a big body, plays a lot bigger, brings a lot of energy. Is kind of that grit and grind type of defender that's going to body you up and try to play physical with you. He's been big with that. Attacking the rim as well, he's been a lot better, shooting 50% from the field. And of course, we know he can knock down the 3 ball. He's been a key part to this Indiana Pacers team. He's been a starter for them now. So shout out to Aaron Nesmith for going over to Indiana and finally finding himself, and he's a big piece to this Indiana Pacer team. LA Clippers is one of the harder teams to figure out because, of course, all the guys that play are either like veteran players and we know what they're going to be. So I gave mine to Amir Coffey. He was a dude that a couple years ago kind of burst onto the scene. Not, well, burst onto the scene, but was an undrafted player out of Minnesota, kind of found his way onto the Clippers. 2022, he had a really good year. And then last year, he kind of took a step back. I thought he was going to get better. And last year, he kind of took a step back, didn't play as many games, not really shooting the ball super well. And earlier this year, he wasn't really a thought for the Clippers. But then recently, injuries started to happen. He started to get into the rotation, and he's been really good. Last year, he averaged just 3 points, a rebound, and assist. Shot 38, 27, 77 splits, very bad splits. But this season, he's already played in almost as many games he did last year, started as many games he did last year, and he's been a big part. He went from averaging 3-1-1 to averaging 6 points and a rebound while shooting a career high 52% from the field, career high 41% from three, and a career high 88% from the free throw line. Dude that, is kind of out there just to catch a shoot and defend. And he's doing that pretty well. So it's nice to see Amir Coffey kind of come back into the rotation, and play well. Like he was a dude that a couple years ago, I was like, dang, Amir Coffey could be a guy that suddenly comes out of the Clipper rotation and kind of breaks out a little bit. And he didn't really do that last season, but now he's doing it this year, and it's nice to see. The LA Lakers, they were one of the hardest teams to do, obviously, as well. But this one, you're going to have to stay with me and think about it from my perspective of what I chose for this. One with D'Angelo Russell. Now, you look at statistics. Statistically, he's had the same year. Last year, he averaged 17, 3, and 6 with a steal on 47, 39, 83 splits. This year, he's averaging 17, 3, and 6 with a steal dang near on 46, 41, 80 splits. So he's dang near had the same year statistically. We know that. But he just feels like a different player, especially the last couple months. He didn't have an amazing run with the Lakers after he got traded last year in the playoffs, especially. Things were being said like how big is his future in LA, re-signed, didn't have a great start to the year, and it's been like, all right, everyone thought he's probably going to be gone, at the NBA trade deadline. But then all of a sudden he just flipped the switch, and now he's been great. In his last 24 games, he's averaging 22, 3, and 6 with a steal on 46, 44, 85 shooting. He's been amazing. He's established himself as the third best player in the Lakers, which is something the Lakers have really needed because they've really been struggling with that, especially with the depth. Even though LeBron and AD have had amazing seasons, they just can't really figure out like what their third and what the rest of it is, But now since he's been there and been kind of the third guy, they've been winning games. In those 24 games, they have had a really good record in those 24 games. So it's nice to see D'Lo kind of step up and kind of find himself in his role. And looks like he's staying on the Lakers for now. I guess unless the star opens up in the off season, who knows? But yeah, D'Lo, statistically again doesn't look much different. Looks the same. If you watch him and look at his role and his impact, just is way better. Memphis Grizzlies going with Vince Williams Jr. The Grizzlies have had a quote-unquote lost season with John Morant, Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart all being injured, but they have found diamonds in the rough, and one of them is Vince Williams Jr. He was a guy that last year was just at the end of the bench on a two-way contract. No one knew who he was, and now all of a sudden he's got a new 4-year extension, and he was at the Rising Stars tournament, and he's been really good. Last year, he played in just 15 games, averaged 2 points and a rebound. He shot 30% from the field, 14% from three. Again, just I do at the end of the bench, just there. And now this year he went up to averaging almost 10 points per game, 5 rebounds and 3 assists while shooting 44% from the field, 37% from three, 80% from the free throw line. One of the better players on the Grizzlies this year. And he's fit into the Grizzlies role. He's a Grizzlies type player. Great and grind, got it out the mud type of dude. Went to VCU, was a second round pick a couple years ago. Gritty, shoots the ball pretty well, is in there, gets a lot of offensive rebounds and stuff, makes the right plays, defensively locked in, does a lot of things. He's a Grizzlies type of player. And now he's kind of established himself as the guy. And now next year when Morant and Bane and everybody comes back and the gang's back together, Vince Williams is probably going to be a guy in the regular rotation because he's done so many good things with this Grizzlies team and he fits as a Grizzly player, So it's great to see his story, So shout out to Vince Williams. Miami Heat. We're going with Duncan Robinson. Robinson didn't really, last year, of course, played the least amount of games he's played since becoming an actual NBA player. Of course, he played 15 games rookie year, but that's because he got signed at the end of the year. Last year, got lost in the rotation. Didn't really do much until the playoff times came when he needed it, and then he stepped up in playoff time. And now this year, he's taken a bigger step. You know, even though statistically not having his, well, almost having the greatest year, he's averaging career highs in assists per game. You know, but he's taken his game to another level in a sense of what he's been doing on the court and what his role is. He's not just a dude that's gonna stand behind the 3 point line anymore. You know, like he's actually can dribble the ball now. He can make plays for others. He can get to the rim. He can do so many other things. It's been great to see. Last year, again, he averaged 6, 1, and 1 on 37, 32, 90 splits. This year, he's averaging over 13 points per game with 2.5 rebounds and 3 assists, which is a career high, while shooting 46% from the field, 41% from three, 89% from the free line, having his best season since 2020 when he broke out. You know, it's been great. It's been big for Miami, you know, to have that more dynamic player of Duncan Robinson. Now that he's not just a catch and shoot threat, you know, not just that, but now he can also dribble. And now he can pump fake and sidestep, pump fake, get to the rim, and pump fake and make a play for someone else. It's great to see him kind of evolve from being just like someone that just waits behind the 3 point line, wait for his shot, you know, now to being kind of like, you know, a guy that can do more. So it's great to see that. The Milwaukee Bucks. This was the hardest one to do because they don't really have a lot of young players that have taken a big step or anything like that. They have a lot of veteran players. The Bucks are the oldest team in the league. So again, you're gonna have to hear me out on this one. I went with Malik Beasley. Now again, you look at statistically, and he's actually gone down statistically. He averaged 12, 3, and 1 on 39, 35, 77 splits last year. This year he's averaging 11, 4, and 1 on 45, 43, 63 splits, which 63% from the free line is crazy for a shooter like him. But yeah, he's averaging career highs in 3 point percentage and threes. He's been killing it from the 3 point line, but his role has been different. He went from last year being on the Lakers, having some good moments, and then kind of just falling out of the rotation completely, to this year he's gone to Milwaukee, and he's been their starter. He's starting every game this year, and he's been a big part in terms of shooting. He's been one of the better shooters in the NBA this season. It's great to see. I always like Malik Beasley. I feel like he was always a really good player, just never really got his full opportunity or never really got, you know, a full chance to show who he really is. And now he is in Milwaukee. You know, he's been one of the best shooters in the NBA. He has his problems defensively, but at least on the offensive end, he knows what to do. He knows to stand behind that line and shoot that thing, and he does that at an elite level and found a role for himself. So that's why I picked Malik Beasley for the Milwaukee Bucks. Minnesota Timberwolves, going with Rudy Gobert. Another odd one, but I'll give you my argument for Rudy Gobert. Last year, first year in Minnesota, didn't play good. Probably had his worst season since he became kind of like the defense player of the year, all-star type of dude. Didn't fit into Minnesota, and just things were not going right. People were talking about trading him. People were talking about, dang, they gave up too much for Rudy, all this stuff like that. This year, he's come back, and he's been a whole lot better. Went from averaging 13, 11, and 1 with 1.5 blocks and 66% shooting last year. The numbers don't look that different. He went up in points and he's averaging almost 14 points, 12 rebounds and assists, 2 blocks on 65% shooting, 65% from the free throw line. Numbers don't look that crazy, but when you watch him on the court, you could tell, all right, he's comfortable now. He's more comfortable. Him and Cat have kind of figured out how to play together, how to figure that two-man lineup out. He looks a lot more comfortable with guys like Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, finding more, you know, dump offs and dunks for him. You know, his free throw shooting has been decent. Rebounding the ball, he's been doing that. Defensively, even though he's not averaging 2.6 blocks per game like he used to have, he's still been anchoring an elite defense. He's probably going to win his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award again this year. And he looks a whole lot better and a lot more comfortable and improved than what he was last year in his first year in Minnesota. For the New Orleans Pelicans, going with Herb Jones. Love me some Herb Jones, man. He's one of the most elite role players in the NBA. You know, he's always been good the first couple years, defensively especially. He's been a guy that, you know, again, people knew him for his defense and stuff. He got an extension in the offseason, and he's taking his offense again to another level. Last year, he averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.6 steals. He shot 47, 33, 76. This year, he's averaging career highs in points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. He's averaging 11.5 points, over 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a steal. He's shooting 51% from the field, and what I love most, 43% from 3, 85% from the free throw line. He's an over 40% 3-point shooter, comfortably over 40% 3-point shooter, which is amazing because we all know how elite he is defensively. Probably going to make an all-defensive team, whatever. You know, like defensively, as good as they come. But now he can shoot the 3 ball comfortably, not even just average. Like he can really shoot the 3 ball now, and he's been doing a little more off-ball stuff in terms of getting to the rim and stuff like that. that just unlocks a whole nother level. It makes the Pelicans even better. It makes him even better. It makes him even more valuable. And now you look at that contract and you're like, dang, we got him for that much? Like, jeez. So yeah, Herb Jones, again, one of the best role players in the league. Defensively, got it, but now he can shoot the three ball. He's been so effective for the Pelicans. He's one of my favorite players in the league. In terms of non-stars, like role players, I love Herb Jones. New York Knicks, going with Dante DiVincenzo, his first year in New York. I think I knew, and a lot of people knew this was going to be a really good signing when he got to New York. A former guy on the Bucks that, just a winning player, won in college, got to the league, won a championship. Injuries kind of messed him up a little bit. Last year in Golden State, he was solid. He averaged 9, 4, and 3 with a steal, shooting 43, 39, 81. Got to New York, got a good contract. And this year, he's been a whole lot better. He's averaging career highs in points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. He's been good. He's averaging over 14 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a steal. He's shooting 44% from the field, 40% from 3, 72% from the free throw line. He's been playing really well, especially lately with all the injuries the Knicks have to Julius Randle, OG Anunoby. He's been balling as of recently. Like he has 4 30-point games. Like that's crazy, isn't that? Like look at since 2024 or since like the end of 2023, he's been amazing. In his last 30 games, he's averaging 19, 4 and 3 with a steal while shooting 44, 39, 72. Also shooting 39% on threes, averaging over 10 3-point attempts per game. So he's not afraid to let it fly. On the year, he's averaging 8 3-point attempts and shooting 40%. Like he's been great. We all know about him as a winning player in terms of, the little things he does, the hustle, the loose ball, the defenses, or the defensive plays he makes, doing all that. But now offensively, he can be a lights out 3-point shooter and be comfortable with scoring and stuff. That's big. So yeah, Don DiVincenzo, another one of my favorite role players. Really, just really, really good player, Oklahoma City Thunder. We're going with J-Dub, Jalen Williams. Now I know it's interesting. It's crazy to say that a dude that was second in rookie of the year last year is the most improved player in the second season, but he has been. I mean, last year he averaged 14, 4, and 3 with a steal on 52, 35, 81% shooting. Really good. But this year he's been even better. Like, he's went up to averaging 19, 4, and 4 with a steal on 54, 45, 81 shooting. He's been super, super efficient, especially the three ball, 45% from three. The mid range is elite. He's just an amazing basketball player. Just finds his role, knows his role, does so many things right in the court on offense and defense, being only still 22 years old. Just a big part of this OKC team that has been one of the best teams in the league. And is fighting for the number one spot in the West. Especially along with a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams still being able to find his stuff and even closing out games as well for OKC on both ends has been amazing. And yeah, J-Dub, really, really good player, man. Can't wait to see what his rest of his career looks like. 'Cause he's going to be really, really, really good. The Orlando Magic, next. We're going with Jalen Suggs. Of course, he's a guy top high school guy, went to Gonzaga, had an amazing run at Gonzaga. Top 5 pick. In the first 2 years in Orlando, he just couldn't really find himself. Struggling with a lot of injuries, kind of didn't really know where to fit in, just didn't really have anything that was exciting. And it was a lot of concern, especially coming into this offseason and stuff, like, what is Jalen Suggs? Like, is he going to be in the Orlando Magic? What is his role? Who is he as a player? But this year, he's established himself in a big, big way. Last year, he averaged 10, 3 and 3 with a steal on 42, 32, 72 splits. Not a horrible season statistically, but his role and impact wasn't really there. He also dealt with a lot of injuries, too, in his first couple years. But now this year, he's been a key part of this Atlanta Magic team being how good they are. He's averaging career highs in points, steals, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. He's averaging over 12 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.4 steals while shooting 46% from the field, 39% from 3, 75% from the free throw line. He's become a star. He's starting every game he's played in 58 games. He's been a key part in defensively. That's like the one trait he kind of had in his first 2 years was his defense. And right now, kind of, in a way, anchoring, quote unquote, like, in quotation marks, anchoring a top defense in the league. The Magic have been elite defensively. That's how they won a lot of games. And he's kind of been the forefront. He's kind of turned into like a Marcus Smart type of player, bringing a lot of energy, grit, toughness, just all that energy on the defensive end. Add in on offense, he's shooting 39% from 3, which he's a guy that in his rookie year, he shot 21% from 3 on 4 attempts. He took 4 threes a game, shot 21%. This year he's taking 5. He's only taking 1 more 3 than he did in his rookie year. While he's shooting 39%. He's shooting almost 20% better. So the efficiency, the shooting, he's become a reliable shooter for them as well. Just an amazing 3D guy, someone that's kind of changed the culture and bringing culture to this Orlando Magic, young Orlando Magic team, and has them now as a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. So he's been huge. It's amazing what Jalen Suggs has done, how he's turned his career around, how he's turned his season around, all this stuff, and now he's kind of like a key integral piece of the Orlando Magic. When coming into the year, we didn't even know if he was going to be on the Orlando Magic any longer. So amazing stuff. Love that from Jalen Suggs. Philadelphia 76ers, another obvious one, the guy that might win the actual MIP award, Tyrese Maxey. Of course, first 3 years, he showed a lot. And now, of course, with James Harden, the whole situation happening early in the year, we were like, all right, what is Maxey going to do now? Especially coming into a contract year. And he's blown up a lot. We knew he was going to be better, but I don't think we expected the jump like this right now. Last year, he averaged 23 and 3, 48, 43, 84 splits. Really good season. But this year, he's taking another jump, averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, everywhere. He's averaging 26 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal while shooting 45% from the field, 37% from 3, 87% from the free throw line. He made the All-Star team. Really, really, really good. Really good player. Again, we expected him to be good, but we didn't think he was going to take this type of jump this early. We know he's going to take a jump. I thought maybe 21, 22 would be good. I didn't expect 26, which has been down, obviously. Early in the year, he was averaging 27. Like, for sure, all-star starter lock early in the year. Like, I didn't expect this to happen this fast, and he's still only 23 years old. He's going to be, like, a key piece of the Philadelphia 76ers going forward. Obviously, with the Joel Embiid injury, it's been really tough now for success-wise. But Tyrese Maxey being the number 2 and kind of taking this step forward has been huge for the Sixers and just showing how good he is. And now he's probably going to win the real Most Improved Player of the Year award. The Phoenix Suns was another very hard team to kind of figure out, but I went with Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen has been solid, of course. Last couple years, he was the starting guy from Milwaukee. Was really, really good. Got traded to the Phoenix Suns and the Damian Lillard deal. And this year, he's been a whole lot better. Last year, he averaged 10, 3 and 2, shot 44, 40, 90. Good season. This year, he's been even better, averaging career highs in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. He's averaging over 13 points per game with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. He's shooting 49% from the field and leads the league in shooting 47.5% from 3 on 89% shooting from the free throw line as well. He's been elite shooting. The last 2 games, he's hit 8 threes in the past 2 games. He's set the record for the Phoenix Suns, most threes made in a game by the Suns twice this year. He's just been shooting the ball at an insane level. 47.5% from 3 on almost 6 attempts per game. That's amazing. And when he's on, the Suns are a better team. So he's going to be a big piece, especially with the Suns having so many injuries and having a lot of role player depth issues. Grayson Allen's going to be a big part in coming up for this last run and getting to the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, he's going to be a big piece. But yeah, Grayson Allen, man, he's just been elite in capital letters shooter this season. Portland Trailblazers going with Jabari Walker. I got probably the most known name on this list, but he's been better. The Blazers have not had a lot to cheer about, be happy about this year, but Jabari Walker has been solid. He was the 57th overall pick a couple years ago. Last year, he played a little bit as a rookie, 56 games. He's solid. He averaged 4 points, 2 rebounds, 42, 28, 75 splits. This year, he's already played more games than he did last season. He's been starting some games, especially recently. He started a couple games, and he's been a lot better, averaging over 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, shooting 47% from the field, 26% from 3, 76% from the free throw line. He's had some good moments. A guy that brings a lot of energy on both ends, kind of like a 6'9", kind of forward that, does a couple different things. He rebounds the ball, definitely plays more of a power forward role, more of a rebounder. Defensively, he's good. He's long, So, yeah, nice to see that they're developing a young guy, 2nd-round pick, that maybe could be a decent little role player in the future. Who knows? But, yeah, shout out to Jabari Walker. Sacramento Kings. Kind of was juggling between a couple different people, but I ultimately went with Malik Monk. Malik Monk, a dude that, of course, kind of broke out with the Lakers a couple years ago, had a big year. Then last year with the Kings had a big year when the Kings had a good year. And this year, I feel like he hasn't been talked about as much, but he's having a lot better of a year. He's averaging career highs in points and assists per game, which is big. He went from averaging 13.5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists last year on 44, 36, 89 shooting splits. This year, he's averaging over 15.5 points, 3 rebounds, over 5 assists per game on 45, 37, 81 splits. Again, I think the assist per game is big because the Kings have not had the same punch, especially off the bench, that they did last season. And so Malik Monk's kind of had to take a bigger role on of facilitating, not just going out and scoring, but kind of taking a bigger part of the offense. He's been doing that really good job. I mean, over 5 assists per game is great, while also having career highs in points, over 15 and a half. He's in the conversation for 6th man of the year. He's kind of revived his career in Sacramento and has been really, really, really good. And something that's really been much needed for the Kings. The Spurs was surprisingly another very hard team to do. And ultimately, I went with Devin Vassell. Now, here's my explanation for Devin Vassell. The numbers don't look crazy different. You know, last year he had kind of his breakout most improved year, and I honestly feel like I might have picked him for my last year most improved for the Spurs. I don't remember. But I went with him for the fact that he's doing it in more games. Last year, he only played in 38 games. He averaged 18.5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. He shot 44, 38, 78. Had a really good season, just didn't really play a whole lot. So we didn't really know what is this Rio? What is it? This year, he's averaging career highs in points, assists. He's been a whole lot better. Even though statistically he doesn't look that much crazier, he's doing it in 58 games. He's been the second best player for the Spurs. Averaging 19.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal on 47, 37, 79 splits. So I picked him for most improved for the Spurs because he's doing similar to he did last year, a whole lot better, but in more games. And kind of establishing himself as, I feel like, one of the more underrated guys in the league as well. Because I love Devin Vassell's game. It's just the Spurs kind of suck, and all the attention's, of course, on Wemby, which it should be. So people don't really pay Devin Vassell much mind. But Devin Vassell, man, he's going to be a really good player in his own right. For the Raptors, another kind of obvious one, going with Scotty Barnes. Won Rookie of the Year in 2022. And then last year kind of had a disappointing year in a sense of he kind of stayed the same. Averaged the same amount of points. His rebounds went down. Assists went up. Percentages went down. You know, kind of just had a similar year. Last year, he averaged 15, 6, and 5 with a steal. 45, 28, 77 splits. And it was like, all right, like, come on, Scotty, we can do better, right? And this year, he's been a whole lot better. He's been amazing this year and kind of pushed the Raptors towards being comfortable with going into a rebuild and trading away Pascal and OG. This year, he's averaging career highs everywhere. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, doing great. He's averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and 1.5 blocks while shooting 47% from the field, 34% from 3, 78% from the free throw line. He's one of the only players in the league leading his team in every stat, points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He made the All-Star team as a replacement. It was a big thing. Like he's been really good. And he's established himself as the future centerpiece of the Toronto Raptors. Just doing so many different things. The confidence. I just love the confidence. He's playing with so much more confidence this year than last year in terms of shooting the ball, taking over games, defensively, but you know he can do. He's been facilitating really well. He's been like carrying this Raptors team. Now carrying in a sense of he's been their best player. They haven't won a lot of games, which makes sense because now they're rebuilding. But Scotty Barnes has established himself like he's the future of the Toronto Raptors. Utah Jazz, next team, going with Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton, last 2 years just been really injury plagued after having a big start to his career. His like first 3 years in Cleveland, it was like, whoa, really good, but the team wasn't winning. So it was like, all right, what really is Colin Sexton? How does he fit in terms of winning teams and stuff like that? Then he had the ACL injury in 2022, gets traded to the Jazz. Last year, when he played in 48 games, didn't really look right, had his worst season statistically, and it was like, all right, what really is Colin Sexton? Like, he was on the trade market. Like, how does Colin Sexton, where does he fit into the league? And honestly, I was kind of worried because I loved Colin Sexton. Because if you don't know, I'm a Cavs fan. And Colin Sexton was one of my favorite players. I have a jersey of him. Like, I love Colin Sexton. I was kind of worried, like, dang, where is Colin Sexton really going to fit in? Like, where does he fit? But this year, he's been a whole lot better. Went from averaging 14, 2 and 3 on 50, 39, 82 splits last year in a limited time. This year, he's averaging 18 points, 2.5 rebounds, a career high 4.7 assists, while shooting 48% from the field, a career high 40% from 3, and career high 86% from the free throw line. He's been a whole lot better. He was a big spark in like when the Jazz had their big run back in December, January. He's big. He's starting now. Like he's been a lot more confident, winning a lot of games for the Jazz as well. Not just scoring, but also playmaking too. Like he's been a whole lot better. It looks like the young bull and the old Colin Sexton that we saw have spurts in Cleveland. So it's nice to see Colin Sexton kind of finally be confident, be healthy as well, and find a little role for himself in Utah. And finally, the Washington Wizards, going with Deni Avdija. Now, Deni was a guy that early in the year, when I did predictions and stuff, he was a dude that I didn't have for my actual most improved player of the year. I think I had Scotty Barnes winning most improved player this year, but I had him as a dark horse, kind of a guy that was like, he's not going to win it, but I feel like he's going to be most improved in a sense of what the reward usually is, where it's a guy that no one really knows about, then all of a sudden he just takes a big breakout. I was a big believer. I was a believer in Denny Avdia this year. I thought he was going to be take a big step. Because I saw last year he had some things, and he has taken the step. Now, no one really knows because the Wizards are horrible. They're 9-52. They might not win more than like 11 games this year, so they suck. But Denny Avdia has been amazing. Last year, he averaged 9-6-2 on 43, 29, 74 splits. Very solid. But this year, he's taken a bigger step and having a career high everywhere. Career highs on points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, everywhere. He's been great. He's starting every game. He's been the consistent starter for them. He's averaging 13 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3, 74% from the free throw line. He's been one of the more consistent things for the Wizards. I mean, he had a 43-point game right before All-Star break. Like, imagine Denny Avdia having 43 points in a game is crazy. But he's been big for the Wizards. It kind of is a building block for the future for Washington because he's still only 23 years old. You know, he has a lot of talent. He can do a lot of different things. He can handle the ball, play kind of a point guardish role. At 6'9", he can handle the ball, comfortable making plays for others. He rebounds the ball very well. Defensively, he's really good too. And now added his scoring, now he's more confident shooting the ball. I mean, shooting almost 40% from 3. Now he's averaging career low in 3-point attempts, averaging a little bit under 3-point attempts per game. But he's still not going to down. I mean, last year he averaged 3 attempts and shot only 29%. So now he's averaging 3, shooting over 40% or almost 40%. That's big. You know, he's taking the most amount of shots of his career, taking 10 shots per game, shooting 50% from the field. He's been one of the better players for the Wizards his entire year. And now I'm interested to see what he gets paid because he's going to be up for a payday in the offseason. See how much the Wizards do believe in him. Or maybe does he stay on the Wizards for too long? Because I feel like he's got a game that could impact a lot of different teams because he could do so many different things. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed once again. Enjoyed the content around here. Consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.